Anamorphic lenses have exploded in popularity recently because they are finally starting to become way more affordable. Because for years, anamorphic lenses have felt completely out of reach, and you've needed to have cinema budgets of 5 figures or more just to be able to consider using one. But now, lenses like this are starting to exist. This is the Sirui Saturn 35mm 2.6x squeeze T2.9, and it's been out for a few years now, but it's almost part of the very first wave of affordable anamorphic lenses. And after years of being curious about anamorphic lenses and wanting to get into that world and explore it and learn more about it, I finally bought one, and I think I'm completely hooked. Very simply, anamorphic lenses squeeze the image horizontally when you shoot. So instead of capturing a normal frame, they compress everything sideways, and then in post, you de-squeeze it. And that's where that wide cinematic look comes from, with the black bars at the top and bottom that we associate with being cinematic. So with this specific lens, everything is squeezed 1.6 times horizontally, which means that when you de-squeeze it, you get the height of a 35mm lens, but the width is around the equivalent of a 22mm lens, which when you compare it to a typical spherical 35mm lens, you can see just how much wider it really is. Anamorphic lenses also have lots of other features compared to spherical lenses, such as lots of character and distortion, and they tend to be really soft towards the edges. And obviously one of the most talked about features is the flares, which tend to divide opinion quite a lot. I think it's one of those things that you either love or you hate, and I happen to actually quite like them, but it's all personal preference. Now, I use Lumix cameras, which if you've ever watched this channel before, you'll probably be aware of. But one thing that I genuinely do really appreciate about Lumix is that they take anamorphic lenses seriously. You can set the preview for the de-squeezed image in camera in a number of different squeeze factors. You can also shoot open gate, which is brilliant for anamorphic because it allows you to use the full height of the sensor, which you don't get if you're shooting in 16:9, which means that when you de-squeeze your anamorphic footage, you still get that full wide aspect ratio, but without throwing away any vertical resolution. And then it also has stabilization built specifically to use with anamorphic lenses. And Lumix stabilization is already miles ahead of everyone else, but this one feature you really don't find on many cameras. And a lot of cameras in general don't even give you an option to view a de-squeezed image in camera, never mind give you a full anamorphic workflow, and then you have to start attaching monitors just to be able to view the image properly de-squeezed. Lumix just makes that whole process of using anamorphic lenses incredibly user-friendly. So instead of just talking about this lens, I actually wanted to go and use it and test it properly with no client, no pressure, just experimenting and making something purely for fun. So I grabbed my dad, who also has his own YouTube channel about bikes, which I will link down below if you want to go and have a look at it. And we shot a small spec style ad using the Maving electric bike that he currently has on loan. And there will also be a full video about that bike on his YouTube channel if you're interested in bikes. But yeah, we made this small spec style ad using this lens.
Good morning.
There's a sound the typical British village makes. You only hear it when nothing interrupts it. Maybe the future of riding is quieter than we thought.
For years, just being able to think about using anamorphic lenses was completely out of reach for most of us. We're talking proper Hollywood lenses, the kind of thing hired purely just for big productions and not owned by YouTubers or solo filmmakers. That was the only place that you could really find anamorphic lenses. So if you wanted to use one, you either rented it for an extortionate amount of money or you just didn't touch it because they were impossible to afford, because they're crazy expensive. And they are still at that level. You could spend tens of thousands of pounds easily on anamorphic lenses. But it has changed massively because companies like Sirui, Laowa, Viltrox are releasing anamorphic lenses that are genuinely affordable. The Sirui Saturn is a fraction of what anamorphic lenses used to cost. I picked this up about 350 quid second hand off MPB. Brand new, they're about 499, so they're really cheap, but they're not just cheap novelty lenses, they are properly built and really capable. And some brands are even now announcing autofocus anamorphic lenses, which just a couple of years ago would have sounded completely ridiculous. Feels like anamorphic is going through the same sort of shift that full frame mirrorless cameras did a few years ago, moving from cinema only or high end only into serious creators, solo creators, and making them very affordable. And that's exciting because now you can realistically experiment with the anamorphic look without needing a massive film crew or a cinema budget. So this Sirui Saturn that I've been using is the 35mm variant, but once you de-squeeze it, it feels much wider, and that's because it's more like a 22mm widthways, like I mentioned earlier. It keeps that natural perspective, but it stretches the world sideways and draws you into the image way more than a typical spherical lens. There is something so special about the look that you get from anamorphic lenses, and I don't want to say the word cinematic because it means so many different things, but it does feel like everything that you shoot with this lens looks like a movie. Oval bokeh is a key feature of anamorphic lenses, and with this lens it is subtle, but once you notice it, you can't really unsee it. So instead of the usual round bokeh that we're all used to seeing with spherical lenses, you get these sort of stretched oval shapes in the background, which just adds loads of character to your images and is a giveaway that you're using an anamorphic lens. You'll not get as much bokeh with this 35mm as you would, say, a 50 or a 75mm that you can also get this lens in, but you do get a nice little bit of background blur. The only issue is that the minimum focus distance on this is quite long. It is 0.9 meters, which means that it is quite tricky unless you're really far away from your background to be able to get plenty of background blur. Horizontal flares are also another huge talking point with anamorphic lenses, and like I mentioned before, you either love them or you hate them. They're a bit Marmite. I actually quite like anamorphic flares, but I think what's nice about this lens in particular is I don't think that the flares are too strong. It gets quite tricky to get it to flare, which is good because it means that it is controllable. You don't want it to be too uncontrollable and flare all of the time. With a strong direct light source it will flare, but I think with it being a little bit more subtle, it can really help just to add a little bit of depth and elevate simple shots a little bit more. You also tend to get a lot of distortion with anamorphic lenses, and this can either be pincushion or barrel distortion. The Saturns have pincushion distortion, which means that it curves outwards towards the edges. Barrel distortion tends to curve inwards and tends to be the most preferred sort of distortion because it almost draws your eye into the image a little bit more. I don't mind pincushion distortion, some people really don't like it, but it is quite strong, especially on this 35mm version, but you can correct it if you want to in post. It's obviously just down to your personal preference, and when you're filming things with straight lines, it can be really obvious. I quite like the character it gives you though. I think little imperfections like that are really nice, and it's a good way to just differentiate your work from a lot of other stuff out there, because where we live in a world where everything is so clinically sharp, it just adds something. It makes your footage look different from everything else, and that's one of the reasons that I enjoy using the Helios 44M so much, which I have made a video about. I'll link down below if you want to go and have a look at it. And that's purely because it just adds so much character. This is probably the biggest question as to why you would want to use an anamorphic lens instead of just using a spherical lens as normal and then cropping it and adding the letterbox bars. Like, we've all been guilty of doing that, let's be honest. But the truth is that using anamorphic lenses completely changes how you shoot, and just filming and adding on that letterbox crop is nowhere near the same. You lose resolution, it's not the same aspect ratio because you're not getting the extra width of the character, but it also makes you think differently, you compose differently, you use negative space more deliberately. It slows you down in a really good way, and honestly, they make shooting fun again. It feels a little bit less like documenting and more like you're actually crafting a real piece of art, creating something special, and it makes you really think deliberately about what you're trying to achieve and be very intentional with that. Now, this lens is definitely not perfect by any means. It is a manual focus only lens. It's definitely not as flexible as something like a 24-70, but they're incredibly boring lenses. An anamorphic lens isn't going to be as run and gun friendly and things like that, but that's kind of the point, because it forces intention, and sometimes limitation is where creativity lives, and it teaches you to think more about composition and framing, and those limitations can actually help you to make more interesting things and things that you're proud of because you're thinking creatively about what you're doing. I definitely didn't need this lens, but creatively, I think I did, and I love it for that reason, because it has completely freed me up to go and try new things. Anamorphic lenses aren't practical, they're not efficient, and they're definitely not necessary, especially for what I do, but they're inspiring and they're a lot of fun to use. And right now, because lenses like this exist, and because brands are making the anamorphic world more affordable and usable, it's finally something that we can all actually go and experiment with and have fun with. And if you're shooting on things like the Lumix S1ii, S1R2, S5 IIs, S5, even the Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras, you've already got one of the best ecosystems to go and try this properly, with an entire workflow built into the camera. The tools are there for all of us, and that is exciting. I think we're definitely still as well at the start of that anamorphic curve that's making it more affordable. We're definitely still at the beginning of it, and I'm definitely not done with exploring it, and I can't wait to continue learning more about it. It is a very big rabbit hole, and I am well and truly in it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video, and I shall see you